So, Monty, tell us what do you do?
Hey, we do engineering business. We do full service engineering, any kind of engineering, and also we started doing manufacturing of electrical cabinets, high voltage side. You see out there substation, transmission lines. So we produce those cabinets.
Oh, and where are you located?
We're located in Raleigh. It's small, Cary, North Carolina.
Okay. Okay. And Melissa's in Florida and she's in construction. Susan, are you still here with us?
Hi, actually, my name is Suzanne Forte, and I'm based. That's okay. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. Actually, I'm in Marietta. I am a publicist, so I work for a large healthcare company, but I'm also a consultant. So in my free time, I do help small business owners with their PR needs. And so that's if they're launching a business, if they have a book, restaurant owners. I've also worked with trade groups. So it's really communications based is what I do.
Yeah, good to know.
And it's great to meet everybody.
Good to meet.
Okay,
Great to meet you,
just a timeout.
Suzanne.
We have someone unable to log in, so we're gonna
Nice to meet you.
use my phone, so everybody can start. Okay, Josh, you want to get ready?
Sure. All right, I'm going to share the screen. Right. Just let me know when to start.
Okay, so everybody's ready? Okay, so we're gonna start our meeting now. So you guys just listen because you guys are on the phone, so you won't be able to participate, just listen to it. Then we'll try to help you with the screen later. All right, Josh, go ahead. Okay, you hear Josh talking. You can hear Josh talk. Josh, can you do the test? Speak?
Test. Can you hear me? Thumbs up.
You hear
Thanks,
it?
Melissa.
Okay,
All right,
okay, go ahead.
I think we're a go. So I'm Josh Laddick. I'm with GSA Focus. I've been helping small businesses get into GSA schedule program for about 15 years now. And today, this is a pretty common slide deck that I use quite a bit. I actually do a good amount of webinars. I've been in a series with the SBA for a couple months now. And this is kind of my go-to, 5 things to learn before getting a GSA schedule. So if you don't know anything about GSA contracts, you're about to get a crash course. That's basically what this is. Oh, there we go. All right, so I'm gonna be looking back and forth, not checking my email. I'm looking at the slideshow. Here's what we're gonna be going over today. Oh, sorry about that. Something weird's going on. All right, I'll keep my left hand over here. What is a GSA contract? Do you qualify? How do you get a GSA contract or get into the GSA schedule program? What's the time investment on your part? And will a GSA contract grow your business? So I talk to folks all the time, seeing how I can help them get into the program, but I also try to figure out if it's a good move for them. That's question 5 right there. And I spend a lot of time in question 2 as well. Eligibility is, obviously very important. No reason to get started if you're kind of at the position where you should be focusing on how to kind of position your company rather than jump in. So a little bit about my company, 15 years in business. We're approaching 500 customers now. We're at like 480, 490 actually. Success rate of getting our clients into the program is 98%. In the small 1-point-something% that where we are unable to deliver, we offer a guarantee. So we offer a full refund in those cases. And I ran the numbers recently, and our clients average about 917 million a year through the GSA program. So they do quite well. So that's exciting for us. That's really, a good sign that our mission is on track. And this is my company right here, myself there. And, we have a pretty We're pretty good. We have a very good team that focuses on delivery, and also have a kind of a specialist in communications just to make sure that transparency and communications is happening between our clients and us. So jumping right into the first question, what is a GSA contract? I have to hit this from several different angles because it means different things to different people. It goes by multiple acronyms. So there's a lot of clarifying that I always have to do right here. First one is really just from a definition standpoint. A GSA contract goes by many names: GSA schedules, multiple award schedule, or MAS, Federal Supply Schedule, FSS. There's also an FAS out there that gets floated around, but they all kind of mean the same thing, and it's all really referring to a program that the GSA has that basically is there to connect buyers like you, or sellers like you, and buyers within government agencies. It is what's called a $0 IDIQ, indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity, which basically means, that the operative term there is indefinite. Everything is indefinite. You don't have any definite business through it. It's simply a channel for sales to flow through. So that's why I like the term GSA schedule program, because program doesn't mislead anybody into thinking they're winning a contract when they are awarded into the GSA. Pre-negotiated, so your pricing, terms and conditions are all pre-negotiated as you're going through the process. And the main point there is that a lot of the kind of negotiating and accepting terms and conditions that you do from one government contract to the next is redundant, and the GSA program takes care of it once, upfront, and for all. And it's a long-term contract, so 20 years if everything goes as planned, and they are chopped up into 5 years. Obviously the base period of 5 years, and then several renewals, 3 renewal options at 5 years as well. From the standpoint of a contractor or a vendor, kind of where you're at, it's a license to hunt or a sales channel. So by getting into the GSA program, the advantage is really that you gain access to the GSA systems, GSA Ebuy, Advantage. There's several of them. I'll go into what they are a little bit later, but that's really all it is. There's an intangible aspect in that it gives legitimacy to contractors. So it is pretty common that you do get sales inside the GSA program, but you also have the open market lane, and the legitimacy of having a GSA contract can give you a boost there as well. And then the third, and this is the final perspective I'm going to kind of hit on, it's a purchasing tool. So from the perspective of a buyer within a government agency, it reduces friction in their life and their job to purchase from contractors. Cuts a lot of the red tape. So there's a big giant living document called the FAR, Federal Acquisition Regulations, and Congress passes laws. They pass, other regulations get rolled in. It's always changing, and that makes the life of a government buyer very difficult. And a GSA contract, or that program, simplifies their purchasing process and reduces friction, makes life a lot easier, and also reduces a lot of the liability or the risk that they have. If something goes sideways on them and it's not GSA, it's pretty much going to come down on them full force. But if it goes sideways on them and they went through GSA, they can kind of point the finger over at GSA and said, well, I went GSA. They were supposed to help me with this. So they like that. And then, competition wise, it reduces the number of vendors when they, let's say they have a really, any opportunity that they're going to put out there. It's a smaller pool of more qualified contractors. So they tend to like that they're not going to be sorting through tens or hundreds of proposals when they put out an RFQ. They're going to be going through a smaller pool that's kind of whittled down to government contractors that went to the trouble of getting into this program. So yeah, and I mean, this is probably a good time to kind of pause real fast, throw any questions you have in the chat, and I will get on there. Michelle, Stephanie, interrupt me. I don't mind. If anything if the timing's better to interrupt, I don't mind that. So do you qualify? So talking about eligibility here, doesn't take much. There's really 2, maybe 3, I'd say, really hard and fast obligations or that you need to meet to be eligible. 2 years in business is a big one. If you are in the IT space, then you may squeak in through Startup Springboard if you're less than 2 years old as a company. But this one's really hard to get around otherwise. In fact, I'd say it's impossible to get around otherwise. The second one and the third one kind of fits into this too, but what you do has to fit into a GSA category. The two big ones are IT, products and services, and professional services. And professional services, you could see by the big long, well, that's not the list, but professional services has a list of about 7 subcategories: marketing, advertising, engineering, language services, obviously business services, environmental. So a big list. It's a really big, all-encompassing category there. And you can see there's emergency security, facility, scientific, construction, and so on. So long story short, chances are you fit into one of these, may even fit into a couple. And then you have to have past performance within those within that category or categories that you fit into. So basically the GSA likes to see invoices, contracts, and whatnot to show that you have past performance. You aren't, you've done these services before and you're proficient at them. One of these that I'd call not a disqualifying factor, but definitely can kind of gum up the process is if your financials aren't seen as very strong. So having a profit, showing a profit over the past 2 years is very helpful. Not, again, not a disqualifying factor. You can explain away. If you have a good explanation, we can get around this. But and then the other one is just debt issues. So the GSA kind of pokes your balance sheet and looks for soft spots. And if they find any, then that can just kind of, cause a problem. And if we don't have a good explanation, it could cause a big problem. So that is it. We've worked our way through number 2 and getting on to number 3. How do you get a GSA contract? So here I'm going to go through the process, 5 steps, kind of chopped it up to make it a little bit more bite-sized. First step is the big step, really, document preparation. So there's a thing called the Gsa Solicitation. It's a big several 100-page document that is basically the guidance to get into the program. There are a set of pages, probably about 30 pages of vague instructions that even if you follow them to the T, you're looking at several rejections just because they are too vague. There's a lot between the lines that the GSA doesn't take the trouble to explain. So yeah, that's kind of why companies like mine exist. And I was in the position of having to get a GSA contract for a company I was working for before I started doing this. And that's basically what I was looking through the solicitation and decided to look for some help. Couldn't find anything really good for small businesses back then. So I did it in-house and then long story short, launched GSA Focus to basically fill that hole. But getting back to it, 25 to 30 documents is what is kind of prepared and wrapped into what's called the GSA offer. And that they all have to be prepared in a very specific way that the GSA requires. I believe I go over those documents a little bit later. After the offer is completed, we have the upload and the submission stage where everything's uploaded into the GSA's online system called eOffer. Many details are inputted as well. So that's the upload and submission. Then we move into the review stage, which kind of starts between step 2 and 3. We're talking about at least a 90-day, waiting period where the GSA is looking through your documents and kind of getting, digging in and kind of figuring out what they don't know, what they want to know. So they pull together their list of questions and they also request more documents if they feel like something needs to be better supported. And that's all called clarifications. So clarifications are good. It means that the GSA is overall satisfied with your documents. They just want to know a little bit more. After several rounds of clarifications, normally anywhere between 1 and 3 rounds, we start moving into towards the end stage, and that's award. And that begins with negotiations. We all jump on a call, everybody involved jumps on that call from the GSA side, from the contractor side, and talks through the GSA discounts, terms, conditions, any other discounts like volume, quantity, prompt pay, all that stuff. It's all, kind of on the table, and everybody kind of comes to terms. With my clients, I'm always on that call. I've been on hundreds of those, and let's see, I think I have one that had one last week. I have another one coming up next week. So always on those calls, and just kind of am there to make sure nothing goes sideways and that they're well represented throughout that process. After negotiations, we kind of move into the final proposal revision, which is kind of the seal the deal document. Negotiations covered all of the different, terms, conditions, and discounts. Final proposal revision is the signature page that kind of pulls all that together. And then we are moving into the award process, which mostly happens back end with the GSA. They do a lot of the final processing on their end, and then there's just an online signature to kind of wrap that up. Then we move into post-award. And this involves registering your company within the GSA systems, preparing and uploading documents through a system called SIP, Schedule Input Program, which is absolutely terrible to deal with. Then after that, you kind of move into the final approval of all those SIP documents, and everything just goes live on GSA. And that's when you start getting those GSA eBuy notifications emailed to you. Those are all opportunities or leads. If you sell products, they go live on Gsa Advantage. Looks like we have somebody else joining, Jarrell. Great. I'll start over. I'm just kidding. So yeah, this is just the final process to get everything kind of placed into the GSA system so that buyers can find you and you start getting those opportunities. This is where you want to be. And then there's a secret step, marketing and compliance. I try to be very upfront. A GSA contract doesn't mean you have any guaranteed sales. You still have to pursue. So marketing is important, and marketing within the GSA world tends to be a mix between active and passive. I kind of put proposal writing in there with marketing because you kind of get inundated with opportunities, which is a good thing. But building those systems to kind of parse out the good from the bad, kind of the wheat from the chaff, and figure out which ones you want to pursue. And then also you are kind of finding yourself in a position where you have to become a pretty good proposal writer. And continuing to grow in that is a big part of the process. And then compliance, really, the GSA does a really good job of kind of making it so that the major compliance issues you need to know. But that enacting them over time is an important thing. So that's also something where you want to build systems and make sure that you don't fall out of compliance in any way. So that's the process of getting a GSA contract. It typically takes about 6 months, give or take. I sped through that really fast. So there's usually a couple questions on that. But yeah, and that's just fine. So talking through the time investment, I can only really kind of project or guesstimate at the DIY process, but with a company is there a question? Nope. Okay. With a company like mine, a consultant that specializes in this, you're probably looking at 3 to 6 hours of gathering the documents, getting them out over to us. And the success rate's obviously really high when you work with a specialist. The DIY tends to be really, really difficult with GSA. You can take that with a grain of salt. I'm not, you don't know me, and I'm not going to kind of say you can't do it by yourself, because companies do it all the time, but it's pretty difficult. And I kind of take over a lot of times. I take over that effort for a company that's kind of gone through several rejections, and they kind of are just frustrated at that point. So lastly, will a GSA contract grow your business? So this is the big question. Eligibility, most companies are eligible, but will it grow business? Your business is kind of the next step of whether you're going to decide to move forward or not, usually. So I can't answer that directly. I can help out and just kind of give you a lot of good data and help you answer it for yourself. The market size really is 35.5 billion. That was from fiscal year 2020. We are in the closing days of fiscal year 21. And those numbers will probably be out and trustworthy in the next month or two. 74% about that went to services, 26 or so went to products. So that's the distribution there. Here's the distribution from a different angle, kind of segmented by the 12 different categories within the GSA. So you could see purple at 47%, almost half is IT. That's a really big one. The GSA has put a lot of effort in that. Government needs a lot of IT infrastructure still, even though they've been pouring billions into it for years. Cyber is, here's a little interesting fact. I started digging into government spending a couple months ago for an article I was writing, and I found that more money went to cyber protection than it did towards COVID relief. So that's a bigger problem. It's not reported on as much, but it's a very big problem. And GSA is, a facilitator that kind of helps agencies to get that sorted out and protect their technology infrastructure. Moving on, professional services, talked about that, and it's several categories. That's a big one at 29%. Then we have the group of 3%ers: facilities, office management, security, protection, industrial products and services, furniture, and scientific, which is management and solutions. So they're all at 3, and then 2 to 1, we have travel, transportation, logistics, human capital, and miscellaneous, which, is what it is. So one thing I've found is you look at this, you may say, well, I'm in human capital, they only get 1%. It's probably not worth pursuing. You may want to, look into it a little bit more. You may want to schedule a call to talk through it with me. What I've found is where the dollars are, the competition is. Where the dollars aren't as much, the competition is not as much. So it usually levels out where you can expect a somewhat similar average GSA sales per contractor from leaping from one category to the next, if that makes sense. So, and typically it averages somewhere around 1.5 to 2 million per contractor, depending on the category. So, all that to say, IT might have almost half of that 35, what's that, 17, 18 billion, but they have so many contractors and so much competition that it's divvied up at just about the same amount, just about the same level as a 1 or 2%er. There it is, 2.4 per contractor. And that's the average. That's just if you take the total GSA sales, divide it by the number of contractors, boom, that's it. Simple enough, simple math right there. It's also noteworthy that about 28% of GSA contractors are below the minimum sales requirement of 25,000 a year. So you're at risk of losing your contract if you don't meet that minimum sales requirement. And the GSA is growing some teeth about that. They used to let it slide for indefinitely almost, but now they are actually pursuing cancellations. So it's important to use the GSA contract. And, just kind of speaking back to that, I found that my clients that come to me and say, I got the letter that I didn't sell enough and they're gonna cancel my contract. I ask them, okay, well, let's try to save it. And I could usually get a 6-month extension at the very least. But my question is always, have you been active? Have you been responding to eBuy notifications, RFQs? If you're selling products, are you actively, monitoring your competitors, making sure your prices are in good range, that kind of stuff? And almost always it's no. Every once in a while, there's one where it's like, we're doing everything, it's just nothing sticking. But that's really rare. Usually if you're pursuing, you're winning, you're doing well, and you're growing. If you're not pursuing, you take your eyes off GSA, and maybe maybe that's not always a bad thing. Maybe another market just started ballooning for you. Good for you. But if you want to keep your GSA contract, you have to turn your head over towards it every once in a while. All right. So I talked a little bit about these. Gsa Advantage, and you could all go on that, and it's a public site. Just Google Gsa Advantage. It'll be the top one. And it's basically the Amazon.com of government contracting. Buyers go to it. Even if they're not going to buy off GSA, they go to it just to see, what contractors are on there, what products are on there, and what the prices look like. They can pull out a credit card and purchase right off of that with a government purchase card. Product wise, that's a really big area, big place to be. The Ebuy Portal is like a bidding area for only it's exclusive for GSA contractors. And it basically just emails you opportunities. If it's in your category, you get that email. You click through to the email and you can download the RFQ. You can see who the KO is, the contracting officer. I try to explain I try not to use acronyms without expanding them. But and yeah, so Ebuy is, very, very helpful there. And then it used to be called FBO, Fed Biz Ops. Now it's just all rolled into SAM. But GSA exclusive opportunities can pop up in there as well. Sometimes they're very large. And you'll see it, it'll say, it's right up your alley. Maybe it's even in your backyard. And you're reading it down and you're kind of getting your proposals start lining up, and you read down and it says, oh, GSA exclusive or GSA only. And then it's kind of like, oh, well, can't go after that if you don't have a GSA contract. So those tend to be the bigger opportunities. So yeah, that's it. That was a whirlwind of GSA information. If you want to know more, you can go to my website, gsafocus.com, and there's a big resource pack. That big orange button, if you click on that, it'll guide you through that. And yeah, there's my email. I am here to help, so I don't turn anybody away. If you have a question, I answer it. If your business hasn't even opened yet, I'll answer questions for you. It's all about just getting the information out. And if you're in the exploratory or the building phase, that's just fine. I help a lot of companies kind of get to the point where it's a good time to make a decision. So here to help with that. And my phone number is there as well. So yeah, that's all I got, I think. Yeah. So now it's just, there's my email, website and phone number, but let me fix this. It's actually extension 2. Yeah, extension 2 will go right to me. And that's it. So question time. I will let Michelle jump in and facilitate those.
Hey,
Yeah,
Josh.
thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
So it lists GSA schedule information. And I want to say something for those AA firm out there. If you don't have any strong past performance in your federal government category, then GSA schedule is a CO looking into. CO when looking into is 2 things. Number 1, if you have AA certification, you are in a program. Number 2, you have a GSA schedule. So that will be why we have it here to just talk about here today.
Thanks,
All right.
Stephanie.
Hey, Josh, I got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
We are AA certified. Do we have some kind of reciprocal, it's a tedious process. I would not want to go through it again,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good question. I get asked that a lot. 8A is, it's great. 9-year program gives you a kind of a feather in your cap, makes you more appealing to buyers. They aim, every agency aims for a certain percentage point for each set aside, and 8A is a really big one as a disadvantaged business that's certified as a disadvantaged business. GSA has a very small overlap with that initially. So it doesn't really come into play with the process of getting you into the program. I've heard very rarely, so don't expect this if you're pursuing GSA, but I have heard of, companies that are on 8A or veteran owned or kind of hit on a set aside that is a little where that category is a little malnourished in that set aside, and they'll pull them in quicker. They'll say, we've been waiting for more 8As or veteran owned or women owned to come into this category, so we're going to pull you in quicker. Don't expect that. It's not common, but that may happen. Within the GSA process, your 8A status is through SBA. It posts on your SAM account, and GSA, after your contract is awarded, kind of sucks that information into what's called your GSA e-library page, which is your landing page with all of your GSA details, terms, conditions, a download link for your catalog file, all of the kind of final stuff. So a buyer that goes to that e-library page to kind of investigate your company will see in the top right corner all of the set asides that you fit into. And that's it really. Where at the kind of purchasing level, which is not really my lane. I help get companies into the program and then maintain. So I'm kind of in this lane here, but on the side lane where things move really fast, the highway where purchasing happens, that's where having a GSA contract plus those set asides, and 8A is a really good one. Putting those two together, you kind of, by having 8A, you meet the qualification that helps them to meet their set aside goals. So that's on that one side. And then a GSA contract basically just makes a much clearer path for them to buy from you. So putting them together can be really powerful.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
It's a
Josh.
pleasure.
Josh,
Yeah.
Suzanne has a question. She put it in the chat. And her question is, how do you verify that a business has been operating for at least 2 years? And what certifications do you need to provide?
Yeah. So the 2-year requirement is verified by financials. So 2 years of your financials right now, 2019, 2020 financials are required to be submitted to GSA in the initial offer package. So that's really it. And as far as certifications, the GSA is somewhat hands-off. There are the approach that the GSA takes is, they could easily go really deep into all of the certifications, but they try to kind of take the approach of, where is the most overlap that we can knock off the easiest for buyers. So when it comes to certain certifications, usually they don't come up in the GSA process. There are some where if you are in, like roofing right now is a big one where the GSA's layered in all of these special things that I don't know, no idea why. Roofing is, it's just something somebody just decided, I'm going to start adding all of these extra things to it. But yeah, so sometimes there's some extra documentation around certain categories. But for the most part, it's pretty hands-off. And I think the GSA does that because not all buyers care about all certifications. So they kind of leave that to the task order level. They let the buyer decide what kind of certifications they want to require or request. So does that answer your question there, Suzanne?
It does. Thank you, Josh. So specifically, I am not an LLC. I'm not registered, but I've been consulting. And so my specific interest is to offer those services to the government.
Yeah.
And so how do I verify or show or demonstrate 2 years of being in business, I guess, as a contractor?
Yeah. So every, do you, yeah. So, I mean, do you report, one thing is how you handle your accounting, which you're kind of at the stage where you're maybe right before you're probably investigating getting your accounting set up right now, or you already have it, but maybe it doesn't go back 2 years very nicely. So in those cases, you kind of just have to sometimes post-mortem pull stuff together to get financials, and they don't require that they're audited or anything special. It can be, generally correct, I would say. And then the other thing is just your past performance in your project. So you probably have invoiced, so you have invoice documentation. Maybe you have some sort of proposal or contract or statement of work. The GSA really focuses in on with services, invoices, and statement of work. Everything out, that's really all that needs to be submitted. It's nice for me as the consultant to have everything and anything and everything document-wise, because the more ammo I have to build out a detailed tech proposal, the better. I certainly don't turn everything over to the GSA. I try to keep things really tight and simple for them. I call it the 6th grade level, because I never know who I'm going to be working with. Yeah, so that's about it. if you have, you know, and funny enough, it used to be 2 projects for each, but the GSA kind of lightened up that requirement. Now it's, with most SINs, only 1 project is needed for support. Now, that being said, you do need to support every labor category, but you're kind of a, you know, you probably have maybe 2 or 3 hats that you put on in a certain project. So, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions, Michelle? Oh, Melissa, you had your hand up?
Yes, I thought your presentation was very nice and very informative. I just had a question though. How much of the GSA schedule goes to construction companies or to construction in general?
Oh, yeah. Let's see. I can give you a general, let's see, right here. I'm still sharing, right? Yeah. So facilities, this gray one, 3%. Facilities is everything from like facilities maintenance to it's kind of a really oddball one. It covers, you know, ground maintenance, a lot of other stuff. Security and protection also kind of gets lumped in there sometimes as a facility. But yeah, GSA and construction are like oil and water in a couple ways. The Berry Amendment comes in, if you're familiar with that, makes it so that AE firms kind of can't jump in. They can jump in under construction management, but they can't do what they normally do. So, and I mean, a big reason of that, I won't go super deep, but GSA has another department called PBS, Public Building Service, and they kind of have a lot of control. And when they don't want the GSA to have a category that eliminates them, they want to have themselves in that place, and you support them. So for that reason, there's no new construction on GSA. They might contract carpenters, they might contract roofers and kind of pull together, but PBS is the prime. They cover, they're the big umbrella, and GSA contractors come in under them. And that's the reason why that facilities is at 3%. They really kind of mess up the flow with GSA and make it so that so that contractors that are, you know, very good contractors don't tend to go through there. So the best, basically, if you're facilities maintenance based or not new construction, but kind of like remodels type of work, then those companies do pretty well under GSA. But new construction that tries to come in and kind of reshape their business to fit into the GSA world, they don't tend to do very well. And I try to talk them out of it, really, unless they have a sizable segment of their company that focuses on that. I try to, you know, tell them every downfall that they're going to face before. So hopefully does that help out?
Yes, very informative. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. If you look into, what, Stephanie, did I get it wrong? It's not the Berry Amendment. It's the, it's in my head somewhere. Berry Amendment, I think, is US made. What is it? I'll remember it sometime, and I'll say, and then you can Google it and look into it. And if that is kind of something that's going to make it prohibitive for you to explore this, then you at least know it's it's a big barrier and you're good to go and focus your attention elsewhere.
It's nice to.
Josh, I have a question.
Yeah.
As a small business owner, is there a target income that we need to make before considering registering with the GSA?
Yeah, that's a great question. I should probably throw that in under the financial one. That's a good one. You'll never find anything in the GSA saying, you know, you have to reach this in revenue. No milestone. And I mean, there never will be. They don't want to be seen as stomping out small business, very small business. So, but I'll tell you that if your revenue isn't kind of hitting the 150 to 200K a year mark, then it can be a little prohibitive. It just kind of throws up some barriers. And basically, it comes down to you have to at that point kind of you kind of have to prove to the reviewing contracting officer that you are going to make the minimum sales requirement of 25,000 a year. So if your company brought in 100,000 a year, you know, it's kind of a stretch to say we're going to enter this market and basically go up a quarter and take on a quarter of our sales, you know, and increase a quarter rather. So it has to pencil out logically, you know, and yeah, so that's a very fuzzy area. So that's probably why I leave it off the webinar, because it's just, I don't think I could explain it in a way that's clear, because there is no clarity from the GSA on that. But yeah, I'd say short answer, you know, if you're hitting 150, look into it. If you're well beyond 150, then shouldn't be a problem.
Thank you. I know a lot of small businesses, you know, you're starting out and you kind of want to know where to start. And you're starting in so many different places. And it's like you said, I don't know if it was you or Stephanie, somebody said earlier, it's just knowing where to start and not being ahead of the game before you're ready, not walking before you start to crawl.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions?
We got everything covered. We have 7 minutes. And Judge, you're gonna leave around 4, right?
Yeah, I've got to leave. I could maybe stay on a little bit longer.
That's okay. I think if anybody is interested in the topic, we can bring you back later.
Okay.
So Curtis, can you hear whatever Judge is saying? Are you still there? Okay. Do you have any question for Judge? He's leaving at 4. Okay. All right. Yeah. You can set up another meeting with Josh in one-on-one. Okay, too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Oh yeah, I will send it to you. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Does anybody else has any questions?
So no more on chat.
Oh,
Go ahead,
Melissa.
Melissa. You can unmute.
Yes, I just wanted to know real quickly, how labor intensive is a GSA contract? Like, do you need to hire people to help you navigate it? Or is it, you know, how the paperwork load, just all of those type of things?
Yeah. You know, it's different for everybody. Maintenance wise, it's not super difficult. I have several plans that a lot of my clients jump onto, but I keep those prices very reasonable as well. Responding to proposals, you know, writing proposals is the majority of basically your job. You know, it's just biz dev, just getting your proposal writing going. And that can, you know, it's everybody's different. So it's the important thing is to respond, to just keep responding, and then to also keep improving. I just did an SBA webinar yesterday where I kind of hit on that a lot, and it's really focusing on locating good opportunities, finding the winners, and getting a kind of a sense for that. So you don't waste your time. You never want to pour hours into a proposal and you didn't have much of a chance to begin with. So a lot of that too is paying attention to detail in the RFQ. One little sentence, if you miss it, might waste you 10 hours. So that's important, paying attention to detail. And within the GSA, a lot of the boilerplate is taken care of. So a lot of the RFQs, they will have a little bit of boilerplate, but it's nothing like an open market 700 page, find all the little check boxes and check them. It's usually nothing like that. They're normally very solution based. So you read their write-up of what they're looking for and you respond with your solution. And that, that being said, a lot of it within the GSA world comes down to two things: price and your solution. So price being probably at least 2/3 of the importance there. If there's an acceptable solution that's a little bit less, then a lot of times they'll go after that, unless your solution just brings so much more value for one reason or another. So there's that. What the takeaway from the webinar that I did yesterday on that, and I said it over and over and over, was just debrief. You have the opportunity to talk to the buyer and get feedback on why they didn't choose you. So could be a number of things. It could be your price was too high, could be your solution kind of fell short in one way or was a little bit to the side of what they were looking for. It could have been that they had a couple details on their RFQ they wanted you to hit on and you just missed them. You brushed over it. So figure out where your, get feedback on your proposal writing talents through that, and don't make the same mistake twice. And if you do that, you'll be winning. And I call it the winning percentage or the batting average. If you're keeping track of your batting average, quarter after quarter, if you're not moving up, maybe you win 1 out of 10 that, the first year that you land your contract. Then the next year you should be aiming to win 2 or 3 out of 10, and then the next year, maybe you come up with a couple automations and you're able to put 15 out there with the same amount of work, just because you have some good templates in place. Maybe you find a software solution that does a lot of the work for you. So, you just kind of always get better, never be satisfied with where you're at. And that's, and I'm not just making this all up. I've got almost 500 customers and I talk to them all the time. And the ones that are really successful, I kind of pick their brain, and this is the way they work. Yeah.
That was great. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. So yeah, sounds like that everything. You'll have my email. I'll put it back on the screen. If you think of anything, shoot me a message. I'm here to help.
Josh, I will send every audio today to you later.
Okay. Yeah. Let me know, Stephanie, if you want me to send you the slideshow too. Sometimes people request that.
Do that too. Yeah.
You got it. All right. Yeah. Well, yeah. Stay in touch. I'm here to help.
Okay. Thank you, Josh. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Josh.
You all have a great weekend.
Okay. You
too.
too.
Bye.
Bye. Does anybody want to stay for networking for the 4 to 5 minutes, 4 to 5, then I can continue. Curtis, are you still here? Curtis. Okay. I'm gonna have Michelle help you how to get into the Zoom. Michelle, can you guide Curtis how to sign out the Zoom?
Sure.
He's not on the Zoom, he's on my phone.
Oh, Curtis, can you go to your Zoom? Do you have it? Did you download the app or are you on a computer?
You don't have an app. Do you know how to download app on your phone?
Stephanie, you can have him call in.
Okay. You want his number?
No, hold on. We can have him.
Yeah, hey, he will have you to do different ways. She will have you do different ways. Marty, are you still cannot do your video? Marty.
It could be, hey, Stephanie, it could be because of Zoom, you know. Typically, we do have video all the time. We use Microsoft Teams. I never had a problem. I don't know why it's
I
wrong.
have no idea how you don't have video because with the video it would be easier. So John,
Yes.
Stephanie,
yeah.
I just put in the chat. He can call in on any one of those phone numbers directly.
I'm gonna give you the number for calling. I'm gonna text you. Others, you listen to it.
Hi, Hussein.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
Hi.
Okay. Any number, right?
Any one of those numbers.
Okay.
Hi, Hussein.
Oh, that's good. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, how are
He's
you?
from international.
Good to
He's
see
from
you.
what country? I forgot. What country are you from, Hassan? He's from another country, not in the US.
Oh, hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you all?
Good. Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Saudi Arabia.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Very nice. And what is your business?
Right now, my business is kitchenware, hotels items, wholesale.
What kind of items? That's very nice.
It is a family business since 1955.
Very nice. What kind of hotel items do you sell? Kitchen items or just?
Tableware equipment for the kitchen, shaving dish. Most of it's luxury item.
Oh, okay, very nice. Are you able to share your information in the chat, like your, do you have a website?
No, not now.
Okay.
Because today is a Friday. I'm calling from home. And
Okay.
this weekend was a long weekend because of the National Day.
Okay. Do you export all over the world?
We export almost 70% from China and India, Singapore, Hong Kong, Italy.
Nice.
Maybe a long time we didn't export from Russia, Czechoslovakia before they got Czech and Slovak.
Okay.
So only from Europe so far is only Italy.
Very nice. I have a client that has a small boutique, a high-end boutique in the Caribbean. And she's always looking for stuff, unique stuff. She travels back and forth to India a lot. She's an Ayurvedic chef, and she does Indian practices, Indian cooking. So she's always looking for unique stuff. That's why I asked if you had a website.
In fact, a wholesale business in Saudi is still using the traditional way, not the digital way.
Oh, okay.
This is the problem. The wholesale almost, goes to the traditional way, not the digital marketing. But we are processing to improve our website and online shop.
Okay.
Yeah, during the pandemic, we was selling through Amazon.
Oh, you were selling through Amazon. Okay.
Yeah, selling through Amazon in Saudi, not the international Amazon.
Okay. Okay. Hi, welcome. I'm sorry, I forgot your name, the gentleman that was on the phone with,
Curtis, are you able to hear us?
Yes,
Okay,
much better.
all right, so you can join us with the voice, the audio, but not the video because you use phone call.
Exactly.
Yeah, but we can help you how to make up the video if you can download your app on your phone.
okay,
You know how to download the app on your phone? We can download on your computer too. We can just go to the Zoom site. Because they have to get the, when they go to the computer, do they need to get an app on the computer or they just can?
They still have to download it, yes.
Yeah, you have to download that Zoom.
oh,
link.
yeah, we'll take care of that, yeah.
Okay, all right. So you can join us. Zoom, all right. Marty, are you still there? Marty.
Yes, I'm here, Stephanie. I'm listening.
Okay. So how do you feel about the Josh GSA schedule?
Yeah, I'm not sure about, you already know my problem here, and I do have 8A, I'm not utilizing it. So do I really want to jump into everything, or I want to take one by one? So that's the dilemma I'm having here.
Okay. Because like I mentioned before, your case is more one. We had to breaking up a little bit piece by piece to find out where you at. So that's a take a slow state. Then we can figure out that later because your issue will be more greater, not just one piece. We had to kind of talk to us, see where you at.
Yes.
Joe, are you there?
Yes,
Okay, hi. I think we talked briefly one time. Can you tell me about what you do again?
are you talking to Curtis or are you talking to,
I'm talking about Joe not there?
no, it's Curtis, I'm sorry.
So, yeah, Terrell,
All right, how about Curtis? You want to share your business with everyone? We have your daughter-in-law here. Michelle, say hi to your father-in-law. And then Michelle,
Hi, Daddy.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll help him with the Zoom as well. We'll help him.
And Marty is engineer friend in Cary, North Carolina. And husband is from South Billion, he's from furniture business. All right, Curtis, go ahead. He's a disabled firm.
Yes, you just want to tell a little bit about my business?
Your company and yourself, yeah. He's
Oh, okay.
told me you're Air Force, right? Did I get it wrong?
Yes, in fact, I was in the U.S. Air Force. This was during the year 1966 to 70, and I spent a year in Vietnam and 3 years in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And during my stay in Vietnam, I had basically worked in the post office, and I used to sell money orders for them to, send back to the States. As far as my career, we have built churches, we have revamped or remodeled churches, we have built homes, customs homes, and also we've done quite a bit of work for subdivisions. I'm saying by building concrete block walls around the park areas and, making it convenient for them to enjoy. And one of the things that we basically specialize in is to do in church, and we've been doing this for over 30 some years because my father, he was a contractor, and it just filtered down through the brothers of my family. My son is a general contractor, and I got 2 grandsons going to college to be a general contractor. So it melted down and seemed like they are very interested because they're part of a lot of programs as it relates to construction.
Okay, I just want to let you know he's also from a military background too. You want to share about your military experience? Hudson?
I'm sorry.
Curtis, I was talking to the other person on screen. He also in the military in the background before.
Oh, okay, okay.
Hudson, you want to share that to Curtis? Hudson. Is he idle or what? You don't know?
What did you say?
We have a one on the screen. He's also in the military, but he's from different country.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're gonna
He
share
heard-
his
I don't
story
think he
together,
heard you.
but we cannot get his attention. Hello. Is he?
Hussein,
Are you talking to me?
Yeah,
But I
yes.
cannot hear you
Okay, you want
clearly.
to share about your story to others? Yeah, to everyone. Yeah. Your minute. Remember you
Yeah,
told me.
I didn't hear your question. Are you asking me something?
Yeah, I was saying your military experience. Then you told me.
Yeah,
you-
yeah. I joined the military since 1983 in Saudi Arabia, and I retired 2011.
Mhm.
I was after Gulf War, the first one. I joined the military police in Alabama, in Anniston, Alabama, for 6 months training, and then again in 2000 in El Paso, Texas, also for 6 months training. This is the time I joined the U.S. Army for training. But in Saudi, of course, I traveled a lot with the Army, from the East Coast to the capital, even to the West Coast. So the total of my service is about 30 years. And then I joined the family company.
Okay. Mati, you want to give us about background your company again? Because we didn't really share about ourselves earlier when GSA schedule started.
Yes, yes, Stephanie. We are Ecogen, company name located in Cary, North Carolina, part of Raleigh Metro. We do a lot of engineering, energy and infrastructure, also residential, commercial, pretty much full service engineering, professional services. We do that. And besides engineering, we also manufacture some electrical equipment. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And we are ADA certified, minority owned business, ADA certified company. We haven't had any opportunity. It's been almost a year, but we're trying.
Okay. So I was going to introduce the mass construction. They also in AA program. They're about 5th year. They are specialized in construction in concrete and masonry. So I may have them to come down to North Carolina or Georgia to work on some projects. So hopefully, is Carlton here yet? Melissa? Is Carlton here yet?
I am. I'm here, Stephanie.
Okay, good. Carlton,
How are you?
he's engineer in North Carolina. That's the one I was trying to connect you with.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So you did hear from Matisse say what he do, right? You hear
I
it?
did.
Okay, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Why don't you talk about what you do?
Well, I'm a licensed general contractor. We've been in construction over 20-something years now. I am a 3rd generation builder. My grandfather had a masonry concrete construction company. He's passed away, but we are still going forth in our construction services, and that is design build. We took it a little higher than grandfather, and I know he would have loved for us to do that. But we do design build, renovations, additions. I'm pretty much getting out of residential and more into commercial. As we speak, we're working at NAS Jacks here at the base in Jacksonville, Florida, with one of the greatest companies in the world called Haskell. And we're doing some masonry concrete work with them as we speak. But I do hold a general contractor's license. I'm also 8A certified. I'm a DBE. I have a BS degree in building construction management from the University of North Florida here in Jacksonville. So I'm a proud contractor and just excited about growing my company to the next level.
Curtis is his father, so we have father and son construction company here too, but he won't be able to see the video. He's gonna just on the phone. Jill, you are the one. Can you hear us, Jill? You're not on him. Michelle, can you have
Gerald, that's you?
yeah, talk to him.
Let's
Is
see.
he there?
Gerald, can you unmute? Can you hear us?
Oh, you saying me? Yes, yes, I can hear you. Yeah,
Are
I'm
we-
sorry.
how do you pronounce your name? Is it Jarrell?
No, Gerald.
Gerald.
Yeah.
How are you? Nice
It's
to meet
different.
you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Okay, Jill, go ahead.
About yourself.
Introduce yourself. You're the one who went up out here.
Okay. Yeah, all right. I'm Gerald McCants. I have an architecture firm in Tampa, Florida. So then I've had my own firm about 12 years now. I'm 8A certified. I do a little bit of work in the panhandle around Tyndall and Eglin. I'm looking to do more before the 8A runs out. I think I'm in my 7th year right now. So haven't really gotten a lot of use out of that due to having to team up with a lot of service disabled, very known businesses has been really the way that we've been able to do work on basis. It's only really about maybe 10% of the work that we do is federal. We mainly specialize in K through 12, and of course we do churches and we do commercial, and we do developer-driven projects that are some of them could be residential and some could be commercial, multifamily. So yeah, thanks for inviting me to the.
Yeah, so you're missing the GSA schedule talk, right?
Yes, I saw the tail end, but yeah, I know over the years I've spoken to other people that have GSA, and I don't think it really benefits A and E type businesses. And I think your speaker might have said the same thing and reiterated that. So we haven't pursued a GSA schedule. It seems like it's mainly for subcontractors in construction.
Sometimes the item.
Right.
Okay, so I guess you and Carlton is same location. Is also in Florida, right? Carlton, he's also in Florida too. Sure.
Yes, we are
About 3 hours away. Mhm,
in Jacksonville.
mhm.
All right, so 3 of you are from Florida.
Okay, yeah, it's about 3 hours, yeah.
Mhm.
Miss Jennifer.
Hmm?
Stephanie, I'm sorry, Stephanie.
Who's Jennifer
You
here?
hear me?
Go ahead.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Could you link me or get me that gentleman's information?
Yeah, I will.
Gerald?
Yeah,
Yeah, I would appreciate it.
sure,
Thank you.
sure.
Yeah, thanks.
Gerald, can you also put it in the chat?
Yeah, I could put it in there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, how
So
far
Jill, you
south
have
to
to
both-
go 12. So what's your current project right now?
How far south do you guys go? Do you only do your respective areas in Florida, or do you venture out further down south or into Georgia and Mississippi?
Is that for architecture for my business?
Both of the construction and architectural.
Yeah, we're state and licensed out the state, so I work all the way down to Miami. I have a couple of school projects down in Broward County, and then I also have licenses in 4 other states. So I do a little bit of work in Tennessee, Georgia. I'm also licensed in New York and Michigan and Illinois.
So thank you.
Looking
Yeah,
to get
we
licensed in
have-
Alabama, so that'll be my next license.
Now we have gone as far as Plant City,
Okay.
and we're looking to expand in Georgia. I'm looking at a place called Brunswick, doing
Yeah.
some work in that area, and Savannah. And again, we're not limiting ourselves to those particular areas. We would love to do work in North Carolina and New York as well. So that's just some of the areas, to name a few, and even California.
Oh, nice. But yeah, if you enter your, I guess you could share your information as well. I can write it down and we can email you some information about my business. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody have introduced each other, and then about the GSA schedule, we have just go over. That is mainly is for the contract vehicle for the government contracting. And then if you're already in AA, right now the CO is focusing on to look at either your Gsa citation and you have a GSA schedule. The GSA schedule will be like a bonus if you have it. And then of course, I had mentioned that before, GS schedule is more like investment. Is that how much you willing to make that? And then return on investment, as like Josh mentioned earlier, is depending on your hard work and your networking. And then you have to really do a great work and follow to for the IDIQ out there. And then sometimes you don't have a GSA schedule right now, you should focusing on to find the GSA schedule holder to be their staff team. And a lot of large company, all the large company need to require to submit a subcontracting goal. So that's something you can consider. If any service you'll be able to provide, then you can look at into to see if any GSA schedule holders out there, then you can say, may I be on part of your team? Of course, you have to be able to see is what kind of service you provide and how many contracts out there. And I think Josh will give you the pie chart to see what projects out there. Especially why I mentioned that is GSA schedule have a CDA, contract service teaming agreement. So you have the GSA schedule for two companies have both the GSA schedule. They can go with join the CPA, then go after the Ebuy or IDIQ together. And then if you don't have a GSA schedule yet, then you can consider to find what is the GSA schedule scope is out there, then you can be part of it. So like before you can make your own GSA schedule, then you can know what is GSA schedule about. It's by being a team of the sub-team. Judge mentioned about that because he's one focusing on how to get you on the GSA schedule. But my maybe is doing is break it down what kind of contract you can go after. Then you have to working with the team to enable to do it. And I think we have keep saying is government contracts like a big pie. You cannot pick it all. You have everybody has buy side, so everybody happy. So that's why teamwork is so important, especially you in AA, regarding you in architecture, you engineer, or your construction, because you have to join force to do with that. And I had mentioned that to each conversation I had carry out is knowing your strength and then finding a public partner to work together. Like if you don't have a service disabled, then find a service disabled firm. We have Curtis on the phone right now. They didn't show video. He's construction firm. He's service disabled veteran. And so when the government has set aside project for VA, they always say service disabled set aside. Then Curtis Carlton cannot touch because he's just a regular AA. Marty cannot touch because he's also just a regular AA. So, but if they can join with the Curtis as a service disabled firm, then you'll be able to touch with the VA contract, because when the VA set aside, then Curtis join with you, then you can go after the contract. That's how the government works. So Michelle, our host, Michelle, is women-owned small business. So if you are just a regular AA or other without when the project set aside for women-owned small business, then you can join with Michelle, and we can come into that project. So we have each other different advantage, and then especially for Carlton, he's resigned in a hub zone. So if he becomes the hub certification, then he can touch the hub zone certification project. Because right now, a lot of government contract, when you look at them, SAM, they always say, we have a VA contract, we have small business contract, but we still want the hub zone go. So when Carlton certified with the hub zone, then he'll be able to touch the hub zone project. That is how all conclude with everybody careful. So that is how when you go to certified contract, that is how the government divide into. Hassan, I'm sorry, we kind of like focusing on the U.S. government contract. That's how the U.S. government works. That's how we are focusing we talk today. Then of course you can go to I keep saying about the DOT because the DOT contract is different because the abbreviation for DOT is the Department of Transportation. And I already talked to the Vicky. Carlton, your certification is not the DBE for the DOT. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So that means you would have to redo everything like you're there right now.
Okay.
Credits, I'm gonna do it for the credits. You will be doing it like the same. So the key here, Jill, maybe you're not listening to it, but you should thinking about that. Is if you have certified with DOT for Florida, then once you certify with your home state, then you can move to different interstate. I have a counting around southern state is about 14 states. So besides the reason for that DOT is because they have a DBE goal, depends on the project, up to 10% for the DBE goal. So if you are certified with that DBE, then you have that 10% up to that goal. So for example, the Marty is in North Carolina, his home state for the DBE. Then he go to South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, then he will be able to do the DBE on there. So that is why the DBE is DOT is the federal funded certification is because it's a federal funded project. So that's why if you just have an AA, that is another route you want to think about is getting the DOT, but they only certify with your home state first. Like Michelle will be in New York, then your home state will be New York. This is where your company register that's your home state. So that is why the DOT is so important is because you can expansion. Even though you graduate from AA, you still can continue. Hello. We have a little kid here. We can continue with your certification with a different kind of business expansion. So that is the advantage for the DBE with the DOT.
So Stephanie, everything, it's like in my case, everything I do has to be New York first.
Right,
That's my original state for filing my business. Although I have foreign entities in other states and I'm allowed to do business in other states, I still have to make sure.
Yes, you could, but the government certification always focus on your home state.
Okay.
And I just realized if you want the Virginia has a SWA, it's called SWAN certification, but they are not allowed to do in Florida because Virginia and Florida are not happy with each other, so they don't have a. If you go to Virginia, if you from Florida, you cannot go to Virginia because they are not allowing you there. Because it's the same thing. Virginia go to Florida, they are not allowing you to Florida either. So that's a disadvantage. But if you know that ahead of time, then you can focus on some other state. That's what I was talking about. The DBE is equivalent. Then as for the colors, you can go to Ohio, Wisconsin for the different state certification because they recognize that. But other states, they only want their own state veteran to certify. They don't want outsiders coming in for the contract. For the reason for certification is because the contract goes. That's why you can see is what I keep saying about the DBE and DOT program is because AA you carry out for the 9 years is if you can park on the right train and it's a good ride. But if you're not focusing what you need to divide on your market and you kind of slow down, then you're graduating, then you have to find something like GSA schedule DOT contract or maybe joint venture for that. But when you don't have a past performance, nobody's interested in you. That's in government. So you have to put in early. Marty, are you listening? This is for you.
Yeah, I'm listening, Stephanie. Yeah.
Yeah, because you really have to start looking into the mapping yourself, because if you're not getting your past performance, then that's why I was asked you to get on the GSA schedule, because Josh is really good at what he do, and then he can help you with that. But winning that is just an easy tool to coming together in place. But even though Josh is saying it was just separated, but for me, I really look at this a connecting train, because when people are looking into the GSA schedule, they want to see if you have a past performance, and normally when you do the government well, you'll be able to do commercial, residential, online well. Even international, customers waiting for you to go to the country too, right? Like he's exploring his adventure everywhere in the world, and then that's the same thing in the US government as well. You can go to Germany. Have you seen the contract on stand? You can go to Japan, Germany for any contract. When it's out there for the embassy, it's all around the world for the US government.
Okay.
Yeah. But you need to start to plan your teamwork and talk to different people and making a connection.
Yeah, sure.
So anybody have any questions? Because you already introduced yourself, and the kind of agenda for today is about the GSA schedule contract vehicle.
I guess I have a question.
Mhm.
It's to everybody, because everyone else on the phone, on the Zoom is 8A certified.
Mhm.
How long after your certification did you start getting contracts?
Well, I got my first one about a year later.
You got your first one a few weeks. You got it taken.
Oh, well, I wasn't. My wife was reminding me about, I'll go ahead and share it. I had a $4 million IDIQ project about a month after I got my 8A certification. And I have to be careful what I say now because I'm on the air. But I'm serious.
Hold on, no, Carlton, before you share that, Michelle, can you do the two type of recording? It's not gonna carry out with our networking.
Hold on, let me